Welcome to the From the Backtees podcast. As you guys know, I'm Zach Pencer. We're joined by our usual host, Nolan T. Smith and Reid Martin, fresh from the course. And Reid, you brought a nice guest with us today. Why don't you do the introduction so I don't butcher it?
Absolutely. One of my good friends, one of the hardest workers I know, a caddy on the Corn Ferry Tour, works for Jimmy Stenger. His name is Colby Norman. Colby, how we doing?
Good, man. How's it going with you guys?
Going great. Thanks so much for making the time. And before we get started, I know a lot of people like to just listen to the first minute and then they're like, oh, this is boring, and then leave. So we'll give them some quality stuff to leave with. I know you have a couple causes that you want to share with people.
Yeah. So the guy I caddy for, Jimmy Stenger, he does Birdies for Hope, and it helps build churches in lower income areas, especially internationally. So Birdies for Hope is pretty important to him, and being that I work for him, we like to see that do well. So a lot of golfers and a few caddies are a part of that. And then with me, I had a niece diagnosed with a very rare and aggressive form of cancer when she was less than a year old. And so we did a fun run that year, like a 5K fun run. She ended up, going through a lot of treatment, and anybody that's done that knows it's very expensive and very hard on family and friends. But good news, she's doing well now, and but we still do the fun run every year. And this year it's going to be October 3rd of 2020, and it's called the Tenley Tough 5K and Fun Run. So we're down in South Alabama. They have a Facebook page. If you want to come do it, that would be awesome. If not, donations are always welcome. So we'd appreciate anything you could do. We give those donations to families in our county that have a kid going through, cancer treatment or any kind of, just unfortunate sickness. So, yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, that's great. And for anyone watching on YouTube, just check the description. We'll put a link to both those things. And if you're just listening, we'll put it in the bio. So you should be able to find it pretty easy. And getting into the nitty gritty of how we got you on here, you're obviously friends with Reid, the caddy connection, or not friends with Reid. Don't blame you. Let's hear how the association came to be, or give us a little 2-minute bio on yourself.
Go for it, Reid.
We were in Wichita, right? Was it Wichita?
Springfield, Illinois.
No, it wasn't Mexico.
You guys need to get your story straight.
But we stayed together in Wichita.
Yeah, the very next week. Yeah,
so him and I had a mutual friend caddies out on the Corn Ferry Tour who actually used to caddy for Jimmy, and introduced us. And ever since, we've been pretty close and kind of work with each other on certain things. And some people you just are able to get along with, man. They understand you and you understand them, and you have a good relationship. We've kind of carried that throughout, even though we don't see as much of each other anymore. But I think we both have, we both have a good knowledge of what's going on, and we kind of share like thoughts that are much alike, and just kind of roll with it.
That's awesome. That story really sounded like one of those stories, when you get arrested with your buddy, not talking from experience, and you need to get your story straight.
That's the pre-conversation before you get interrogated.
That's the whole Mexico story. We already went through that shit.
Yeah. Go back a couple episodes. But you mentioned I noticed you took a little jab at Reid for being in the big leagues. Is there that kind of banter that goes on between caddies when you go up and down?
I always give him a hard time. I'm like, yeah, man. I was like, you're over there with the big boys, I was like, don't forget about us small people. But I mean, at the end of the day, he knows. I'm totally always. I mean, I tell him. I mean, almost every time we talk, I'm like, dude, I'm so stoked for you, because just being up there and just, being able to play with the best guys in the world. And I just tell him, man, I jealous of you, happy for you, everything. And just can't wait to be there one day. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, that's you. You're going to get the From the Back Tees bump. We used to be a curse, but now things are really turning around and like everyone's doing well.
Hey, sign me up, man.
I mean,
Whatever
Arshan Atwal was leading the tournament this week. Talk about From the Back Tees bump.
That's true. The little bump. Hey, I'll take whatever bump I can get.
Yeah, exactly. So let's hear. Right now, you're caddying for Jimmy Stanger. How did you guys connect, or how did you end up becoming a caddy? I feel like that's always an interesting story.
So his old caddy, Tillis, is one of my really good buddies. I met him when I first started club caddying at Sawgrass in Ponte Vedra, and Tillis is the guy that kind of just really, drew my attention to doing it like professionally. And I would come to him with any questions about it. At first it was just like, oh, that seems cool. And next thing you know, he had kind of pep talked me into, trying it out. But so Tillis caddied for Jimmy, I think for about a year and a half. And then there's a mutual parting with him and Jimmy, and Tillis and the guy he caddies for now, Jared Wolf, which I've actually come to know pretty well. They both stuck their neck out and gave a good word to Jimmy about me, because I had actually just separated with the guy I was caddying for at the beginning of the year. And it was just kind of perfect timing. And basically the day after that, I had split up with the former guy I was working for. Jimmy called me and we had a good talk. And I think we're 5 events in now, so still relatively new. But Jimmy's a great dude, super nice, very charitable, and he just, with all the causes he does, and easy to work for. And the best thing about him is he's a stud. So just, looking to ride the coattails.
There you go.
Yes, yeah, so
oh,
go ahead, Nolan.
You mentioned you went to Alabama, right?
I did.
Did you play golf at Alabama?
Absolutely not. So
No.
You got Justin Thomas, who was in my class, and then you got me like off screen way down here. So I actually didn't even pick up golf until I played a little bit growing up, like here and there with my dad, but always did team sports growing up. And when I graduated high school and went to college, I wasn't doing any of that. And there was that competitiveness that was still there, and just, wanting to play some sport, and that I didn't need other people there with me to play. And so, hit my dad up about like, what do you think about playing golf? And he was like, you got to do it. So I really didn't. I got back into golf hardcore, like sunk my teeth in. I was, about 19 or 20. So about 7 or 8 years ago.
Right on. Yeah, Alabama's got a pretty solid track record of recent golfers too. So
yeah, absolutely.
The Robert Trent Jones Trail runs through it too, right?
Very true. Yeah.
RTJ Trail. Dude, those are all so.
So how good at golf did you get in your couple of years? What's the handicap working with? Am I still the worst one on the pod?
We're talking about handicap. We're talking about handicap, as Peyton Manning says, at elevation or sea level. There's a difference.
Below sea level.
No, I'm definitely. I'm nobody. I'm the world's okayest golfer. So I can go out and have fun and hit a few good shots here and there. But man, it's as far as handicap. Oh man.
I already know it's gonna be pretty good, and then I'm just gonna be demoralized.
No. I would if I had to put a number, it'd be like maybe 7 to an 8. So,
are you kidding me?
That whole big range.
I can shoot 98 or I can shoot 78, like any given day. I mean, there's no telling.
That whole speech, Nolan, what did you think he was going to say his handicap was? I was thinking like it would be around 25 and maybe like 35. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
hope.
I was feeling like in the high teens is what he was gonna say, but yeah, 7 or 8 is pretty solid.
Jesus.
Hey, just play with me one time. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
I will. You'll win. But
I'm the guy that signs up for 18 holes and when I get on that 9th tee box and my back starts hurting. So I'm like, boys, I got to call it a day.
Yeah, we're going to mini tour event.
Sorry?
No.
Oh, yeah. Good question. Would you finish last at a mini tour event?
When did say that again?
Would you finish last if you entered a mini tour event?
Oh, boy.
Maybe
I would
that's
have
it.
to say yes.
I think that's it.
Yes.
We have to enter the same mini tour event. That'll be incredible.
I would have to say yes. I don't know, man.
I'll caddy for Colby and Reid will caddy for Zach.
That's right.
Lock it up. Lock it up. Reed's got to give me like 5 aside.
No. I don't play golf anymore, man. I played twice in the last year.
I know. I try to get Reid to play whenever we were both in Jacksonville, but yeah, let's go play. He's like, man, no, not today, not today. So I was like, all right, whatever. I quit asking.
Reed's a big war zone guy now.
Hey, hand up on that. Hand up on that.
Yeah, that's right. Warzone. But in all seriousness, you spend and I love being on the golf course, but you spend every minute on the golf course. And when you get some time off of it, and it's like I don't want to go have time off and then go back to where my job is, on a daily basis.
Yeah,
which I love my job. Change your schedule up so you can keep it fresh and whatnot.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, you're definitely keeping hope alive, for people to just get on tour and start caddying for the pros. I mean, I feel like a lot comes down to being in the right situation, and a lot comes down to just like having the personality where they don't want to kill you.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to know what you're doing. Obviously.
No, for sure.
A lot of it is your personality, man. Like it's a personality match with your player. Like that's half of it. I would say. I mean, if you annoy your player or your player annoys you or whatever, like that's probably not going to be a good relationship, and you're probably not going to be very successful.
Yeah, we spoke about it before. We need like a Match.com for players and caddies or something. Make a killing off that.
Just hope nobody gets catfished.
Yeah. It looked like on a caddy match.
Oh man, that would be out of this world. There is no telling what you would see on those profiles.
Nolan, we'll sign you up for a couple tech classes so you can make an app.
Yeah, I'm already on
very profitable. We'd have to charge a lot for each match. I feel like there's not too many combinations. We don't have as many people as like Tinder here.
Well, yeah, you could set up. There'd be rewards like if you guys made the app and the caddy and the golfer get together and they finish top 10, they have to give you guys this much. Top 25, this much.
That's a good idea. That's why you went to Alabama, folks.
Yeah. That's the smartest people in the world.
Speaking of, what are you feeling like is going to happen for Roll Tide this season in the fall? I just heard like breaking news this year or today about like the Ivy Leagues shutting down fall sports. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, but good news is last time I checked, Alabama's not Ivy League.
Wait, I thought you said the smartest people go there.
Yeah, ACT, that's that. People that go to Alabama, they're sometimes they're not just good test takers. All right, that's what we say. We just can't take tests very well.
As long as you can spell ACT.
Yeah, exactly. I think you get 7 points for just spelling your name right on the ACT. So. Right. That basically you're a shoe-in to get in at least there.
Yeah, if you can't, you're automatically knocked down to an A- at best.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I hope they have. I was just talking to my roommate today. who he doesn't really have any big ties. He played NAIA football in school in Mississippi, so he doesn't really have like college ties anywhere. But I was like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do if they don't have a college football season. I mean, it's just never even been a thought. But I don't know. I know a lot of people around here that will not be happy if there's not a college football season. That would just.
I mean, SEC football is like, as far as like that. That's the year for most people.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I'm not at all like I don't hesitate saying the Premier League. Like, you know, you got the English Premier League for soccer, like with those diehards. But it's similar to that. I'm not you know, on the same level. Not on the same level, of course. But it's just like, as far as like, we've got to have this. Like, it's close. I mean, it's because there are some people that are just. I'm serious. Like, people will not go over to people's houses down here. Like, oh, we're gonna go over to so and so's house and, you know, watch the game and have a few beers. Like, oh, aren't they an Auburn fan? Yeah. No, I'm good. Like, no, I'm good. Don't worry about it. Like, it's crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. I just did a school project the other day, and the main feature video was I forget his name, Davis's return against Auburn. Sorry to rub it in, but
yeah.
Salt in the wound. Salt in the wound.
I'm genuine. I did it like 2 days ago. It was a good video. It was a good call.
I will always remember that for the rest of my life, because that was some of the really big Alabama games I'll watch by myself, so I can't act like an idiot in front of other people.
I do that for like hockey games.
Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, it's serious. And I remember that play. I mean, you know, every now and then at like the end of a half or the end of a, you know, quarter or something, there's like a punt or a kick return for a touchdown, and there's always like a holding or block in the back or something. So like, I'm watching him run it back, and there was like legitimately zero panic, even when he's in the end zone, and I'm just like looking up at this virtual scoreboard on TV,
for that
like
yellow flag.
Yes, exactly. And I'm just like, you know, no panic, waiting, and then it was been like 20 seconds. I was just like, oh my God, like, this just happened. This is real. Like, and then I was just like, wanted to just stab my eyes out. I could not believe what happened. Like, I was just, it was.
Auburn's gonna win the football game.
Yeah. Davis is gonna win the game. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I had buddies who had set that as a ringtone, and
God,
go off.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, no joke. I turned my phone off, like, you know, that game ended at like 9 p.m. or whatever. I turned my phone off till like lunch the next day, because, I mean, when games like that happen, you know, especially if Auburn beats Alabama, we just have friends just like spamming our phone with, oh yeah, you know, like, roll tide to that, yada yada. And it was just like, I'm just not gonna, can't listen to it. There's no way.
How'd they finish that year though?
Auburn or Alabama?
No, Alabama.
Was that 2013?
They didn't
They
win.
went through the ship, didn't they? Yeah, Alabama. They won that year. I think they went to the national championship.
See, I don't understand college. You guys freak out over like the Iron Bowl. Just
it's like, it's similar to, but not on the same level as like Manchester United and Chelsea, or like Man and Man City. I mean, it's just.
I get it. I live in Montreal, so our hockey fans are
just,
like, they kill each other.
It's just, I think what it is like, you know, here in Alabama, there's no pro football team or really pro sports team, like major pro sports teams. So Alabama and Auburn are like our pro sports teams, and they're both in the state. And you literally, by the time you're born, you like, your parents are either putting red and white on you or orange and blue. I mean, it's just how it is, and it gets down and dirty. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's like that here with the Montreal Canadiens in hockey. Like, it's like a religion, and they blow up cop cars. It's like madness.
It is.
I think we got to go back to the old segment we had when we had Ty Dillon on the show with three questions by a Canadian that are probably pretty bad. So
I love that segment.
it's a great segment. We're going to start bringing it in. We're going to have sound effects and everything. So I have 3 questions for you that are probably pretty stupid, but they're all going to be related to Alabama football.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, here we go. First question, has Alabama been like the best team in the SEC forever, or is this like only under Nick Saban?
Ooh, maybe statistically, I would think so. I mean, I don't have the stat sheet, but I mean, they had Bear Bryant back in the 70s and 80s.
They were like pretty bad in like the 90s, though, right?
Yeah, they weren't great in the 90s. Which I was born in '92, so there was they won it. They won it, and they won the national championship in '92, and then they didn't win again until like 2009 or something. So maybe statistically, yeah, I think they are.
They had Julio Jones when they won it for the first time again.
15 minutes down the road, man. I played against him in high school. Not fun.
Really?
That should have been the introduction.
You were DB?
No, well, so I was actually a freshman, and he was a senior. And I think he might have played the first half, and then no joke, we saw him in the stands the second half, like walking around. Like, that is not a joke.
Is that bad of a blowout, or?
Oh yeah. I mean,
I know Derrick Henry played for Alabama. Is he from the state also?
He's from Yulee, Florida, which is actually like, I think 30, 45 minutes from Jacksonville. So
his high school stats were like 500 yards a game on like 12 carries.
He was like a created player on Madden, pretty much. I mean,
Reid, you've never seen his high school game logs? It's incredible.
No,
it is not.
It was like 450 yards, 8 touchdowns, 500 yards, 9 touchdowns.
Yeah, it was stupid.
The Mack truck, dude.
Yeah.
And he's seriously like a refrigerator walking around with a football. Like,
that picture of him next to Mark Ingram will like never.
Yeah.
It's always gonna be burned in my mind of like how big this guy is.
He's a massive human being. He's just an absolute unit.
Yeah. Okay, second question by a Canadian here. How do you guys? This is a great segment. I know I'm proud of this one. So, like, as an NFL fan, I follow like the Saints free agencies, the Habs free agency. What's going on? Do you follow that for college because they're gone so fast?
Like recruiting?
Like recruiting and like what's going on off the field and like where they're gonna go.
So, like, yes and no. Like, I remember whenever I was like in college and the guys were like close to my age, I followed it because I always like thought it was super cool. Like, oh, I'm 18 years old doing this, and this guy's 18 years old, trying to pick between Alabama, Auburn, USC. Like, like as like a, I don't know, like an envy type of deal. But then, like, I don't know, the older I get, the more I just, like, of course I follow, like, Alabama accounts, like, on Twitter and stuff, and I'll get an update saying, hey.
Oh, another 5-star recruit just
yeah, pretty much, man. Yeah, the rich get richer. And I love it. I love it.
5-star recruit fucking signs to Alabama.
Yeah.
Or fucking across the board all the time.
Hey, but that
breaking news,
transfer portal, you can watch the transfer portal maybe now. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That whole deal now, like that they even have that, just makes me like it's scary because I mean now with kids about to be able to get paid in college. I mean, if they go to this school and there's not like a lot of potential for them, they'll just transfer out. I feel like, I mean, these kids, I mean, at the end of the day, they're 18, 19 years old. Like it's crazy. I feel like they can be swayed pretty easy. You know what I mean? Especially when you wave, a dollar sign in front of them, and but
are you implying that Alabama waves a dollar sign in front of them?
Nah, he's just talking about Scam Newton, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Scam Newton.
Exactly. No, I have a good feeling that almost every big school, there's some type of compensation.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
That's right. No, I defend it. I would cheat. Why not?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, the third and final question, which will be prefaced with a question. Do you know what the Canadian Football League is?
Yes.
Okay. So you know, like, Montreal is deemed the Montreal Alouettes. Do you think Alabama would beat the Montreal Alouettes?
They would beat them by 50.
Wrong.
Whoa.
Wrong.
They would
lose
beat them by
so
50.
badly. Colby, I'm going to send you article after article now of how you don't understand how terribly they would lose.
No. There was an article like 5 years ago from ESPN, like, would Alabama beat the Browns? That's
No.
an NFL football team.
100%.
I'm not agreeing. I'm not saying they would.
Okay.
But just that it's a conversation.
No.
It was just,
You would lose to the Montreal Alouettes by 50.
what are they, the best team?
No, not even. But I'm gonna give you a good argument here. Well, first of all, a bunch of our players have been like Heisman Trophy winners. We had that. Our quarterback before was who was the Heisman Trophy winner with Ohio State, who never made it to the NFL.
Well, he went into the XFL, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was on the Alouettes. He wasn't even good enough to be on the Alouettes. Johnny Manziel was not close to good enough to be on the Alouettes. He stunk. Now they have Vernon Adams, who was like a star for Oregon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We would kill you. We would kill you.
Here. I'll go back. I won't say by 50, but we're looking at worst an overtime game.
No.
At worst.
I think dead serious. I don't even like the CFL. I prefer like the SEC football. But how many players on Alabama? Because I had this argument with my friends. How many players on Alabama make the NFL?
Oh, it's a decent percentage.
8 to 10.
I think it's like
Like
I think
10
it's
maybe?
around 20 to 30%. It's a decent amount.
And the reason they're so good is because like of that 20 and 30, a lot of them are like stars in the NFL.
Right.
But 70% of their team is still guys who probably aren't going to play professional football after, or like at least 50%. The Alouettes is college players.
Yeah, no. You're right, but again, just because they don't go to the NFL, that doesn't mean they couldn't go to the CFL.
Colby, I'm going to write up
Zach.
statistical analysis for you.
Zach, do you think the best CFL team could beat the worst NFL team?
No, they would get killed.
Okay.
The best NFL team would get killed by the worst NFL team.
Or the Browns would just murder the Roll Tide when they were talking about it.
For sure. Yeah, there's no question. I don't think there's any question.
But it's like Johnny Manziel, when he played Alabama, he was still like incredible. It wasn't like Alabama stopped him.
He was
when
nuts.
Johnny Manziel came to the CFL, he was like horrific.
Hey, I've caddied in the same group as Johnny Manziel at Silverleaf in Scottsdale. Swear.
He's apparently a really good golfer. Okay, that's the end of my segment. It was a long segment this time, but no, you didn't win that one, Colby.
No. Chalk it up. Chalk it up as a W.
You're gonna be like, why is this guy sending me emails about the CFL?
Dude, I got to share something with you, Colby. Back when I was in college, we'd always have the when they still had the college football game, we'd have like little like season-long tournaments on, and we had a no Alabama clause. Like you could not use Alabama because it was so unfair. So that's how good Alabama is. But I don't know if they could stand up to a professional team, even if it is the Canadian League. We'll see.
Yeah, so I much prefer watching Alabama play than the CFL. Like way more. Just they're like 19 years old.
What about like a good Alabama team versus an XFL team?
No, they get killed. I
I don't know.
So many players in Alabama aren't that good. It's the superstars that take you over the top.
But I mean, traditionally, it's like they're a really good defensive team, and obviously in the big leagues, I feel like defense is where games are kind of
right.
I think at the end of the day, it's like it's the O line versus the D line, and I think a lot of football coaches would agree with that. But so you really got to look at who's on that offensive line and who's on that defensive line, and then there's where your answer traditionally lies.
We
But
need to find like the only honest people we could get to find to give us like a good answer. We need to find like Vegas bookmakers, like the odds makers. To like, what would you set the line at? Could you study it for us?
yeah. Hey,
Or we make a shitload of money off this podcast, somehow pay both teams to show up and scrim just to prove a point.
that'll work. That'll work. I can
Brilliant.
put in I can put in $20 of that.
I'll take it. You got to start
Hey,
somewhere.
Question for Colby, and I'm gonna word it in a sense. So my opinion on it is not. Colby, how are the COVID tests we have to do every week?
Oh, that is a look of I don't even know.
Disgust.
I've never felt something so inappropriate in my life. It's so uncomfortable, and it's the first time you get it done is something you've never, like a feeling you've never had in your life. It feels
Sounds
like
amazing.
It feels like it goes like it's gonna go through your
Colby,
brain.
you have a
and
girlfriend?
Come out in like a unicorn. It's awful. Awful.
Something is not supposed to go there.
No, exactly. Like,
It's not supposed to go there, man.
no.
That's wild. Do you guys have to do it twice now, Reid, even though you're at the same venue?
I was wondering that when I got to town, but I think we have to do it. Yeah, I think even though we haven't left, I think we have to do it again next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get back to some golf. Reid, we got to congratulate you. Another solid finish just outside the top 10. You're really bringing in the bank. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Good
good week. And you know what? I'll tell you this. There's some at Detroit Golf Course. I should say that tournament in a hole. I guess last year when they had fans there, it was actually very well attended. I'll give them this, man. They got that rough around the greens in areas where if you didn't have a spotter, you would have a hard time finding it or stepping on a golf ball. I mean, it was nasty in some areas, and I was talking to actually Mark and I were talking to one of the guys who works for the club after the tournament was over. He basically said, "Thanks for coming. How the golf course and this and that." He mentioned that they were going to put in a couple more fairway bunkers and do something with irrigation. I think he mentioned, and he said next year that course should be really, really even firmer and faster. And it got pretty firm and fast on Sunday. But that's a golf course that it's an old school country club. It doesn't have a lot of beauty in the sense of not much wow factor, but they can get that golf course firm and fast, and if they wanted to, and they can make it pretty tough.
Yeah, you were leading the event for a couple of holes there at one point. Do you feel like it probably helps you in the long run being able to lead on the PGA Tour when you get back there?
Yeah, I mean, any experience with that is positive experience, and whether you play well or you don't play well, you're still learning something, whether you know it or not. You're learning how to react to a situation. And I think that's really what you got to keep your eye on. You got to keep your eye on and focused on learning and taking learning experiences even when you're least expecting them, because that only helps you in the future, whether it's a putt on 18 to win a golf tournament or whether it's hitting the first tee ball of the day on the final round or whatever. But, anything that you do, I think you just give it your 100% every shot, every step, and however it plays out, it plays out. But you can't look back and say what could have shown. You just take your learning experiences and move on.
I feel like you guys are so good at just staying like laser focused on like, all right, we're just gonna hit the next shot. We're gonna make this next shot the best we can do. It doesn't matter where we are in the standings. We're always trying to make the best shot that's right in front of us. I feel like that's just something you guys do so much better than anyone else. Like, as you guys being professional, golfers and caddies. Right.
Well, I think, and Colby can probably attest to it too. Like, dude, you got to break a golf course down. I mean, if you you see the pins the night before, you're doing the pins or whatever, and you're kind of seeing where the flags are, you're kind of drawing up a game plan of how do we want to attack this hole, how are we going to attack that hole. where the tee is going to be, this and that. But at the end of the day, you can have a game plan just like you have a game plan in a football match or whatever, football game. But it may change due to other circumstances. So you have to be able to just take it shot by shot and step by step, and not try to conquer it all at once.
Yeah, I feel like it was a long time coming too for Mark. He's finally like getting recognition on the tour. I mean, people on Twitter were loving him for his putting stroke and for the fact that Bryson just blasted it by him every single time and he still managed to keep up with him.
Hey, so I have to denote this to our listeners, and they have to hear this because it's funnier than hell. We walked to the tee on Saturday. Or I walked to the tee, and Hubs, I think, ran in to take a leak or something. They did something before he went to the tee. So I got to the tee before him. And DeChambeau and his caddy are on the tee, and I introduced myself, and we started small talking, and I said, hey, you guys play in the next couple of weeks. And Bryson's immediate answer was, no, I've been on the road for 4 weeks. I need to go home and get bigger.
Dude, he said something about he wants to be like 280 or something.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what was funny was, I don't know if it was funny, but it was eye-opening, was we were playing with him when he berated that cameraman. I was 5 feet back.
It's true. I didn't even realize that. That was the round you guys were with him.
Yeah, dude. It was almost like it just happened so quick and like out of the blue. It was like, what the hell? Like he hit a shot out of the bunker or whatever it was, and it didn't hit it very well. And he was obviously a little bit frustrated. And the cameraman held on to it and held on to it and held on to it and kept watching it. Well, I guess he just looked at him and was like, dude, like you don't need to try to capture every moment. What he was telling us was he feels like people are trying to find anything because what he's doing is so new and out of the blue and whatnot. People are trying to find any little thing to criticize him, and it's frustrating, I guess he was saying.
I mean,
I can understand that.
He's 100% right. It's for sure true that people are trying to find something, but at the same time, like it is a wild move for him to be like, you need to stop doing your job of following me around the course. Like,
Yeah,
the dude was just a cameraman being told what to do.
Yeah, man. I feel like if you hit it 350 yards in the air, like camera guys are going to try to video every swing that you have because you're doing something that I don't know if it's like ever been done.
Comes with the territory, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously I wasn't there, and I've never seen a guy hit it 350 in the air. It's like,
I don't get how he did this so fast. Wasn't he like a pretty short hitter too, like a year ago?
Quarantine. Yeah.
We teed on hole number 1. Right.
Oh, Reid's internet's cutting out.
Reid's breaking up big time.
Too much. I think Colby isn't he like a pretty short hitter, Bryson? Like back in the day.
Yeah, I think he was like
300.
I think he was like pretty standard, which I mean nowadays like 300 is kind of like middle grounds. And then I think if I'm wrong, Reid, let me know. But I think whenever he came back from quarantine, it was just like 40 yards longer, like just straight up carry. Like,
dude, we teed off hole number 1. I want to say 1 was probably, oh goodness, maybe 350 front, 360 front. We had a little tailwind. He fucking got one on the first swing of the day. and he was like, I did it. And he ended up being just short, but he thought he drove the green. I'm like, dude, that doesn't even cross people's minds in 2 shots sometimes for that golfer.
350.
Dude, it's insane.
It's crazy.
But I mean, think about the way golf courses are laid out. Sometimes, and typically a lot of the times, there's the trouble is at 300. It's at 310. It's at 290. Where the runouts are, where your ball is landing. So in most areas, he's just basically saying, "Oh, I don't care if I'm in the rough. I'm just gonna bomb it over everything. I have a wedge in play."
Yeah.
I think the craziest thing for him, like we spoke about it last week, Reid, you had even said like you don't think driving distance will matter too much. I think that was pretty much the consensus with everyone because no one imagines that you're just going to start hitting 350-yard carries rolling out to like 400 yards. I feel
Right.
like this is very concerning that he's just going to go win every single major now, because everyone's just saying like, no, there's no way he wins. There's so much like trouble everywhere. You can't just drive it so far. And he seems to just be proving everyone
I
wrong.
think there's going to be certain golf courses that he can't do it on. Like he probably, I shouldn't say probably, a course like Augusta. You really just can't bomb it around Augusta. You know what I mean? There's courses, say like Torrey Pines, maybe, that you can take out fairway bunkers and just send it over them.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
like, you can't bomb it around Augusta, the whole place, but there's definitely holes where, like, I feel like he's, like, mapped it out. Like, he's going to start hitting, like, diagonally across every single hole, like, into trees and, like, figure out the bounce.
We'll see, man. I mean, he became the favorite at every single major this year already, which I think is absurd. I would go on to bet he doesn't win a single one this year. So.
wow.
Yeah, I think it's worse than even odds that he doesn't win one. I mean, it's still not easy, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously,
I mean, winning any golf tournament's hard, but much less a major. I mean, that's
and
he was winning at a better clip before he did this. I mean, now this is a small sample size, so we gotta wait it out a little. He might go ahead and knock off a couple more wins, but he had won like 4 in like a stretch of 9 tournaments a couple years ago. So it's not like he's played. I don't know. He's played great golf before.
So. Yeah, I mean, he's got those like how many top 6s in a row now? Like
I think 7.
Dude, he hasn't finished outside the top 9 or 8 or something since the tour returned.
But he hasn't played every tournament like you guys. And
that's
you guys
right.
are one of only 3 players to have made the cut in each of those tournaments.
Grinding.
And the only one with 2 B's connected in the last name. Fun fact.
With an H.
Yes, that's right. But also, one of the craziest stats from Bryson I saw was that he led after 3 rounds. He was leading the field in driving distance, but dead last in proximity to the hole on his approach.
What?
Yeah. It was wild. That's why people are saying, like, he could have won by 20. So I can imagine he actually hit it well.
This last tournament?
This last tournament, his proximity to the hole was dead last.
I did not know that.
That's why he finished first in putting, first in off the tee, and only won by 2, which is like, you think you'd win by like 10.
Yeah, see, I thought I read that too, that he finished like first player to ever win a tournament that led in strokes gained off the tee and on the green.
Yeah.
Or putting.
Got to be those 1-length irons. He's just got to switch those up.
That's one thing too, though. Like, I like, it's great, like, entertainment to talk about how far he drives it, but I feel like he's almost like taking away from himself how good of a golfer he actually is. Because outside of the driving, he's an incredible golfer and like would win tournaments anyways.
Dude,
he's unreal.
You guys have seen the grips he puts on his clubs, right?
He's trying them all out to figure out the most efficient one.
Dude, they're like baseball bats.
That's what Hubbard should start doing.
Start bombing.
They're literally like baseball bats, man. It's crazy.
I got to ask you, though, too, Reid. Well, first of all, the Pencer family was riled up when you guys were on TV all day. It was just like every time we saw you guys, we're like, whoa, this is big news. 'Cause we're never going to get there. But were you a little disappointed that you didn't listen to my idea of wearing all neon pink? Because you had some great work of taking the flag out. Some great smiles at Hubbard throughout. And, like, if you were wearing all neon pink, I feel like you could have grown a little fan base there.
Neon pink will never be worn unless I lose a bet or something.
There was a chance that I'm like,
were you nervous, Reid? Were you nervous about that pink hair bet?
Dude, it crossed my mind
at
one point.
Bring Colby to
I was
date
like,
here.
oh, shit.
So, Colby, last week on the podcast, we bet him that if Mark Hubbard, or it was Mark Anderson, too, who was doing well at one point.
Right.
If either one of those guys won, that their caddy would have to dye their hair pink. And
that would have been.
Sorry?
That would have been awesome. You imagine some 6'5" caddy walking around with pink hair.
Not even pink, hot pink.
Yeah. Wait, at any point did you think about it?
It crossed my mind. I know it did. Like I thought about.
Like Friday night after the round, you're like, oh shoot.
You're gonna have like a putt to win a tournament, and all of a sudden you're gonna see Reid like go up to Hubbard and like whisper in his ear, and the people are gonna be like, "I wonder what he said." Like, we'll
That's
know.
gotta be some true veteran caddy information right there, and he's probably been like, "Hey, I don't want to dye my hair pink."
Please fuck this up.
We're taking second, pal. You got a five here.
Wait,
Yeah.
Reid, is it a lifelong bet? Like when you guys win on the PGA Tour, you'll dye your hair pink?
No. That was a one-time bet.
Do it.
I really don't want to dye my hair pink.
Reid, you have to do it. Have you no confidence?
Oh, I have confidence.
He has confidence. That's why.
Okay, you made the bet though, and then look how well you did. Let's at least do it for this week.
Only if Colby goes in on it.
I'm not caddy this week. No, nothing I can do about it, bro.
Simple yes.
Your tournament next week.
If we win, dye my hair pink.
Yeah. Or you could choose another color if we accept. Do you have any other suggestions?
I'll take another color. I'll take green.
How about brown?
Fine, we'll give you green. No, not brown. You could go like, I was gonna say frosted tips, but you don't see it with the hat, so.
Oh, we might do some beard dye, like some pink beard dye.
Oh, that's good. That's way worse. Okay,
I'll probably lose. I'll be the first caddy to get fired after winning a tournament.
And then you'll become
Jimmy, we have 3 feet to win here. Yeah, we need to fucking free putt this.
Yeah. Jimmy, I see this putt breaking about 3 feet left to right. Oh, really? I got it dead straight. No.
Downhill, 10 feet downhill.
Yeah, it's a slider.
Okay, so that sounds like an agreement. Do we have an agreement here? I don't need people backing out when you guys win.
I'll do pink beard dye.
Deal.
Yeah, pink beard dye if we win this week.
Oh, you too, Reid? Okay.
Last pink bet, you little Canadian.
Yeah, sure. It won't be the last pink bet.
We gotta have a bet if we don't win though. You guys, that's even odds.
If you guys win, I'll dye my hair.
All right.
What color?
Yeah, we'll all dye our hair. I'll
do whatever you guys do if your player wins.
All right.
Deal.
I don't even get a paycheck for that.
That's a good deal. We're getting nothing out of this.
I'm gonna have to lawyer up.
This is great though. Yeah, no, absolutely. We need to get last week we had like 2% of the field's caddies in on the deal, so I really thought we had a chance.
Yeah, we did the math.
There was a chance.
Yeah, I didn't even know who we had. We had Juan Carlos, was it?
Yeah, Tim Wilkinson.
Okay, Tim Wilkinson.
Jimmy.
Okay, and then we got one last topic, I guess. We got the Memorial coming up. This podcast is going to be coming out Tuesday. So Memorial's in 2 days. We're like recording in the past. Very weird. What are your thoughts on that, Reid?
Well, the Memorial, we have the first tournament, the Workday. And they,
did I just skip over it?
Yeah, the Workday, what they've said they did with the golf course is they're going to keep it a little softer and slower, and then slowly make it firmer for the Memorial. But yeah, the golf course is very demanding. The green complexes are very good. If you miss it in the wrong spot, you're going to be penalized as far as, very tough up and downs. But the golf course is one of the best I've ever seen in making you hit it to a certain area to have a good look at a birdie or, hitting up the left side of the fairway, see how you have an angle into the uphill slope instead of hitting the cross slope into the green or what have you. But yeah, man, this golf course is one of the better ones I've seen out here.
What's it like playing? I heard they're going to be very similar, the Workday, the way they're set up. I think maybe it was 4 holes are going to be set up differently. But besides they'll change a few things, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. But what I'm curious of, and we talked about it before, all the collection areas around the green.
Like, I'm curious how much they're actually going to get beat up. I mean, it might even come to a point where they take the collection areas that are beat up and just resod them for next week. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Be
Do you
very
think,
interesting.
does Hubbard suit this course well? We need the
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's. I think it's a definitely a. You got to drive it well, and I think there's a big a key on being able to control your number with your approaches and your irons. Like I said, if you miss it long and that's the wrong spot, you're going to get penalized for it. Maybe not actual stroke penalties, but there's areas where there's big X's and you should not ever be there.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it.
Yeah.
Bring that big get that big red highlighter out for that yardage book with the X's.
Yeah, that's right. No bueno.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm looking forward to hopefully this week hearing an announcement that Tiger is going to tee it up next week at the Memorial. Man, I need me some Tiger Woods back in my life.
We all do.
Yeah, I don't know why he's like making everyone wait, because I would guess he knows when he wants to come back, unless he's been like sore or hurt. You would think he would announce it. Maybe he likes to build the hype.
I just don't think we ever really know, because he obviously what he went through. Like, he's now probably keeping everything so close to himself that you just don't know, man.
Sure.
Can't blame him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, anything he does is front page news, and
just like Bo.
Do what?
Just like DeChambeau.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Except DeChambeau's 20 years younger than him.
Right.
I thought he was like 28, 29, and it came up and said he was 26, and I was just like, that guy's a year younger than me.
Could have been you.
Here's a
Could have been me.
Trivia question, does anyone know where Bryson DeChambeau played college golf?
Yes.
You.
SMU.
Yeah. Mustangs.
The Mustangs.
He played with
Harry.
I think him and Harry Higgs were teammates. And
that's right.
Smotherman on Korn Ferry, right?
Yeah, Austin Smotherman was on that team too. Yep.
Yeah. That's a
Funny when you
solid
go back
team.
and think about that. Think about Oklahoma State when they had Victor Hovland and Matt Wolf and all them together.
Yeah, dude. Wolf is an animal. So is Hovland.
Literally.
Hovland's been like really on fire.
Yeah, that dude. So
I will say, I'm starting to see a new wave of guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see a new wave every 3 or 4 or 5 years. Not that the other ones get bad or worse, but you just see new talent come in who's going to be able to perform, and it's kind of cool to see.
You know what's crazy? Like 300 days ago, it was like the introduction of Morikawa, Hovland, and Wolf. And less than a year later, they're like 3 of the best players on tour, and people just forgot that they just started.
So I remember last year we were in Portland, Oregon, which is the last regular season event of the year.
Go!
We were at Pumpkin Ridge, and
Portland,
yeah.
Colby loves Portland.
No.
Yeah. No. What? What's wrong with Portland?
No. I do. I love that tournament week's awesome. But the guy I was caddying for then, that's the very next week, the finals or the playoffs start, or finals, whatever you want to call it, which is those last 3 events for 25 more tour cards. And the guy I was caddying for, like, we were talking about it with a couple other players and caddies, and he's like, yeah, man, the goal is just get in the playoffs and try to compete for one of those 24 cards through 3 tournaments. And I was like, 24? I was like, dude, there's 25. He's like, yeah, but Victor Hovland is an auto lock on one of those. So you're really playing for 24. And I was like, you are so – and sure enough, like, he got his card. Victor, like, I know Hovland played those last 3 events and just, like, locked up tour status. And I was like, that dude was so right. I mean, he was true, though. It was true, though.
I went to the U.S. Open down at Pebble where he played still as an amateur, and I was like, yeah, this guy's for real.
Dude, he's next level. Like, I would love to just see him, like, follow him for like a couple like Saturday, Sunday rounds, like in the mix, and just watch him just hit it just straight down the middle, right at the pin. He's nuts.
a little fun fact about Victor Hovland, why I always have a soft spot for him. The first PGA Tour event that I went to and we had tour credentials for was the Farmers Insurance 2 years ago. It was before I even knew Reid. And I went to the putting green. I was going to like interview some guys, and like Patrick Reid was a complete dick, but a couple other people were complete dicks. And then Victor Hovland was just there alone putting. I had no idea who he was with like the small like college bag. Went up to him and he spoke to me for like 20 minutes, just like, "Do you have any more questions you want me to answer?" I'm like, "Oh, great day."
One thing I will say too, the ladies love some Victor Hovland down. Like when we were in Pebble Beach, like, Victor, oh, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Because isn't he like Norwegian or Danish? No, he's Norwegian.
Yeah,
Right?
he's always rocking that JL gear.
Yeah, exactly. They love that. The ladies love that.
I think most ladies just love a young guy that's even decent looking with that kind of income. I mean, that is raking it.
Reid.
Wasn't gonna say it, but
Big money Reid.
Hey man, I just no. We don't mess with.
Do you put in your Tinder bio, Reid, your recent finishes?
No, but we do put a big smile on there. You guys are fucking awesome. I love it.
Okay, before we get off, we'll stop bothering Reid about his quality life. Give us the rundown on what's to come on the Corn Ferry Tour and how the season's playing out.
So like I said, off this week. Starting this week, we got 2 weeks back to back in San Antonio. So I'll be there back with Jimmy next week. And then I think we're taking this after next week, it'll be a 6-week straight. And so we're going to take a week off after that. And then I think we're doing 5 straight all the way into, I can't even remember. I just looked at it earlier today, but it's just so weird because I have, the updated schedule versus the old schedule, and they're kind of right beside each other. So I get the dates all mixed up, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing 5 straight after that. So,
you guys,
we've been lucky
enough in Portland.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hit me up.
Colby knows where to go in Portland.
No. Yeah. It's called the Airbnb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Reid had some fun last year in Portland. We'll leave it at that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this season's been fun so far. I mean, I've had like a couple top 10s, and then Jimmy, we've had some good finishes. So I don't know, man. I'm just excited. Like, especially after sitting on my butt for 3 months, like wondering if I'm going to be able to even have a job anymore, to being able to come right back to work and having, 2 out of 3 good finishes is just kind of like a good kick, like kind of gets you back going again. So I'm just ready to get back out there. I know Texas is supposed to be smoking hot. Like, I think it's supposed to be like 80 to 105, like almost every day this week and next week. So
are you flying, Colby, or driving?
I'm driving private.
Driving private.
Yeah.
How far is
it?
that?
10
like
hours.
10 hours?
Yeah, 10 hours. So
yeah,
I can knock that out in the day. I'll be going through Louisiana. I might stop for some boudin, maybe a couple roulette spins and hit the road.
Yeah. Always play the zeros.
Zeros
Always
play the black.
Yep.
Yeah.
Zeros.
I'm ready to roll though.
Yeah, that's great though. We definitely have to get out to a Corn Ferry Tour event. I feel like that's where it's at.
I'll get out to that Portland one.
Hopefully by then we can have at least some type of, crowd, maybe even if it's like 25%. I mean, honestly, like with Corn Ferry, it's not even close to PGA. So there's only like a handful of Corn Ferry events where there are like really sizable crowds. But just coming back to play with 0 people watching is, it was weird, but now, I'm definitely used to it. So to the point where I feel like if one week they're like, especially if it's like Portland, who usually has a pretty big crowd, they're like, hey, we're selling 100% of tickets, we're going to show up. And I feel like I'd be lost. But I don't know. I'm not even the guys hitting the balls, but there's something about, playing in front of people that just, I don't know. It's just like a different gear. It's just cool, because I know if I wasn't caddying, I would be right outside the other side of those ropes. Because I tell everybody that, they ask me what I do for a living, and I tell them, and, what do you like about it? I'm like, literally watching these guys, some of the best guys in the world, like play the sport that I love to play. And it's just not even close to the same level. I mean, some of these shots these guys hit, you're just like,
it is bonkers to watch the guys on tour, like how good they are. It's like impossible. It doesn't make sense. I could practice my entire life. I would never get
yeah. I mean, I always like joke with some of the other caddies in our group if one of our guys hits like some usually like those short game shots, like a bunker shot or something out of the rough, and you're just like, how did he just do that? Like, how he did it, but just to actually be able to execute it, like trying to, say par or make birdie, it's just like,
and I'm just
what is going on?
Yeah, the par saves are like crazy when they like drive it almost out of bounds and make something, or like even the putting, like a 50-foot putt, it's like a guaranteed 3-putt for me, probably a 4-putt.
Yeah.
Matthew Wolf just like drains downhill 50-footers.
Yeah, while he's in contention.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense. I made like a 25-foot par putt with some buddies last time I was home and played with them, and I won like 75 bucks. I thought I was going to the Masters, and it was like 25 feet. Yeah, exactly. These guys are like making, like you said, like 50 foot. It's ridiculous.
I know you're still telling it on podcasts being shared to millions worldwide. Well, before we close things off, we've been on for around an hour now. Do you have any questions you want to ask the crew?
Oof.
No, nothing. We're not that interesting, really.
Oof. Well, I already know too much about Reid, so I can't really ask him.
Way too much.
I don't know. What got you guys into this?
I've just always loved golf. I always find it amazing how good they are, and it really did start like now we've gotten to know a bunch of the PGA Tour guys, and really more because Reid's on the tour, so like we love just following him. But originally we all started just following the Korn Ferry Tour and like the caddies, because I find that way more interesting than following around like Bryson DeChambeau. Or now it's interesting, but usually
yeah.
I'm only on here because Zach begged me. He just needed me, and I was like, you're only gonna pay me 6 figures, but I'll do it, Zach.
Yeah. I'm usually not one to divulge in the money, but yeah, sure, you got me. No, man, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and especially the golfing podcasts, and there's so many different varieties of like styles and topics, and it's just, especially once I started doing what I'm, caddying for a living, it's just it's like crack cocaine to me, man. I just can't, it's like you can't get enough of it. You just, because I love talking golf, and listening to other guys talk about the same stuff that I'm interested in is just it's just super cool. It'd be like, a detective listening to a true crime series or something.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Yeah, we have some interesting people on for sure. Not you, but I mean, outside of golf, we've gone from NASCAR drivers to NHL scouts, Korn Ferry Tour caddies, PGA pros. We've done it all.
It's a melting pot on this podcast.
Exactly. That's what we go for. Try to make people laugh.
Yeah. I mean, that's good. It's exactly. I mean, I'm sure that's what the majority of people want. Because you don't. I don't think a lot of people want to get on and see the same stuff every day. Like if it was a Korn Ferry caddy every single podcast, so it's good. Or an NHL scout, every podcast. So it's awesome. You know, just mixing it up and just getting different ideas and, you know, opinions on a lot of the same topics and then also very different topics. So I'm sure y'all haven't asked as many Alabama football questions to the other guys. So
No, but we have plenty more. We're gonna have to have you on again to just keep
I would love it. I would love to
pounding
do
the
it.
Alabama questions.
I'm gonna have to get my history book out, my Alabama football history book out.
You gotta brush up a little.
Yeah. I'm telling you,
I got a trivia question before we go.
Go ahead.
Here.
All right. This has nothing to do with sports, but I have a trivia question.
Take your time, Reid. Take your time.
What is the northernmost, the easternmost, the westernmost, and the southernmost state? They can all be different there.
Oh my God, I'm gonna be so far off. This is gonna be embarrassing.
Or they can all be the same.
I've heard this. This is like a riddle.
Well,
About all the same.
No, so just start like what's the southernmost? No. There's four of them. Name the southernmost state, name the northernmost state, name the easternmost state, name the westernmost state, but a state can be used more than once.
is this continental U.S. or is Alaska and Hawaii in here?
But everything, all 50.
So Hawaii, southern.
Hawaii is south.
Of
Alaska,
course.
north.
Alaska's north.
Of course.
Alaska west?
Washington.
What?
Washington for west.
No, I would think Alaska.
Alaska's west. What's east? This is the one everyone fucks up.
New York.
You'll never think of it, dude, because
Maine.
it's kind of like you got to think about the international date line.
Is it not
The what?
Maine?
Is it like
Alaska.
Connecticut?
Alaska crosses the date line. So
Is it
technically, Alaska is north, east, and west.
Reid, you love your geography, eh?
Big geography guy.
I heard that in a bar like fucking 5 months ago, man. It's the greatest.
Haven't let go of it.
I've never had anyone answer it right.
You need to bring on last week or 2 weeks ago. You also had a geography question. That's like your thing now. We're gonna have like Reid's geography question of the day.
We should do that. Reid's geography question of the fucking week.
Call it
And we'll just where's Reid? And I can do it. I'll do a geography question of where I'm at.
Oh, wow, that's a good one, Reid.
Ooh,
Wow.
nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Reid's local geography.
You're more than just a Blake Bortles lookalike, Reid.
The UCF too. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I know, it's brilliant. Well, thanks so much, Colby, for coming on. Yeah, we definitely appreciate it. I know I'm going to have to add you now to the PGA Tour app, follow along. We follow along all our guys. We're waiting on that first place. We'll see that pink beard next week. Can't wait.
I need that bump.
Yeah, no, in 2 weeks we'll see it. But yeah, we really appreciate having you on, and we'll for sure have you on again soon.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate
Colby.
it.
Thanks, Cole.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks,
going on.
Nolan. Thanks, Zach. Reid. Always a pleasure.